Okay, let's see if I remember how to do this because I just had a failed attempt. So this is good. There's my camera. It's on. There's some purple carpet, and that is a new room. And I am actually really excited, and there has been a lot of thought building up to putting out this video. So I am really happy that you're watching it. And I promise to try to not be long-winded, but I will just be honest, it's probably going to be a good 20-minute video, so grab water or, coffee or tea or soda, Dr. Pepper in lieu of me, please, whatever you'd like, and kick back if you are interested in hearing a long story of where I've been, what's going on now, and some things that I'm committing to and am going to be sharing coming up in the next 3 to 4 to 5 or 6 months. We moved. So we bought our very first home together in August. We put an offer on this in April, a couple of days after my son's birthday. And it was a short sale. So basically, if you don't know what a short sale is, the owner of the house that you are buying needs to take a loss on that property. The bank has to approve that because the bank is the one actually taking the loss, usually not the person, the owner. And they can be very, very long, or they can be long but quick. If that makes any sense. We had a good team, solid team, and even the way that worked was awesome. That was completely divine intervention. I think God stepped in completely and said, this is the house you were supposed to have. We weren't looking at putting in an offer on a house at all. We were still waiting on some financial things to happen, and God took that and just said, you know what? Sometimes you have to let your plans go, and we did, and we have a wonderful home that one day I will share, but not today. So this is my new office. My husband will be joining me in here with an office desk eventually, but for right now, we actually don't have enough furniture in our home, which is a weird problem to have, and that's that. So we put an offer in April. The bank accepted it. It takes a really long time just to get the banks and the closing people, which their name is escaping me right now. Yeah. Anyway, to work for you, and it did work. We closed August, and we had 30 days before my young baby, my little Colton man, started kindergarten. So we dashed to get things put together in the home, in this new home, and my oldest started 7th grade. So that was like change number 100 this year. You can probably see that I'm no longer family finance success. And you're probably thinking, Jen, you made a huge deal out of rebranding. What happened there? Well, I'll tell you. I rebranded in order to have a business. I ran a business. I had clients. I made money, but it was not for me. And I am not afraid to admit that. I know that there will be people who will say that that's sad, you didn't give it enough time, this, that, or the other. And all I have to say to that is, I am not in that person's shoes, and they are not in my shoes. So you don't know how stressful it could have been. Anything that goes with a startup, there is stress. I was very aware of that and very prepared to take it. But some other things that go on simultaneously in my life is that with the move and with my little guy starting kindergarten, and I had just graduated, one area that I am not the best at is relationships with very close people. And over the last 2 years, me and my husband have been making some like really big steps in our relationship, which kind of seems silly, right? We've been married for 8, going on 9 years, and we have been together for 16. So literally I have grown up in front of his eyes. He's 2 years older than me, so has he. But I feel like he was always on the more mature end of the I know what I want out of a relationship. I can tell you what to expect and I can tell you what I would want, but I'm not so good at that emotional connection part. Through some therapy and through some lots of prayer and guidance and mentoring, we've made a lot of progress on our marriage. And if you are having something like that going on in your life while trying to create a business and take care of kids and move, and there's some other things that I just don't feel comfortable sharing with right now, it takes a lot out of you. And my husband was really supportive of me doing it because he knew that this was not really a dream I ever had, because it wasn't. It was a desire that came up and he wanted to support me. But we really had to sit down and look at it, and it's just not the time. So I took a complete step back in, I want to say it was May, complete step back. I took down my website, rebranded, and I don't even want to say rebranded, but still have a desire to create. I cannot take this space and just throw it away because it is something to me. Died for our sins, right? So redemption. We are all redeemed. We are made clean whenever we believe that Jesus died for us and rose again, and that we confess our sins. Number one, that's a huge part of my life, is I'm a believer. I love Jesus, and he has come through for me every single time. Let me just put it that way. So I wanted to honor him. I want to honor God in some fashion or form with whatever it is that I do from here on out. Journey is that I really think life is a journey. I think it's a great grand adventure. It sucks a lot of the time. I'll just be honest. It's hard, and we never, I don't know. I don't want to say we never stop that cycle of it sucking and then being good, but I think that that's really what life is. So redemption journey, and redemption has been, I think, at the ground of Jeff and I's relationship for ever since we got together. I think he got together with me because he thought I was this girl he could save in his own way. He could redeem me. I got with him because some way I thought I was exactly what he needed. I have gone through trials with my parents, and redemption has brought it back that I almost live right beside my parents. And I feel as though God is pushing me into this journey of sharing other people's redemption. But before he did that, he has made it very clear to me through several confirmations that I can't help people in the way that I would probably like to help people right now until I got myself situated. One thing that I am not is I'm not a self-care guru, and I have been trying really hard to figure out me. Right? Does that anybody else think that that sounds weird? I think it sounds odd. But I've been trying really hard to figure out me. I'm 32 years old. I have a 12-year-old. So if you're good at math, you can figure that out. It's not that young, but it is. I was 20 when I had my son. I moved out, and I've lived with my husband when I was 17. And those were hard years, but they were years that I didn't have that normal, go off to college type thing. So I do feel as though, and most people do agree, I missed a lot of that growing up type thing, and kind of figuring out who I was. I had obligations to pay rent. I had obligations to pay bills at 17, and that's what I did. I started as a assistant manager at a restaurant, a chain restaurant, Okay, I'll just tell you it was Roy Rogers because you probably all were wondering. It was Roy Rogers. There's all crazy stories. That's how I met my husband, actually, was at Roy Rogers, and I loved it. I was making close to $30,000 a year at 18. And that may not seem like a lot to people who are making like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but for an 18-year-old, that was crazy money. And I did that until my youngest son was born. I've always been like, meet an obligation, fulfill it the best that you possibly can, but I've never really been like, what do you desire? What is your passion? Stopped my business. I stopped lots of different volunteerings that I was doing. I stopped working well, I didn't stop working at the nonprofit I was working for. Unfortunately, nonprofit sometimes don't have a lot of money, and that was the case with that. So they had to make some cuts, and I was there 7 hours a week, so it was a reasonable cut to make. So I feel like I'm going forever here. I'm just trying to give you some background, if that makes any sense, because a lot of people know a lot about what I did, but they don't know a lot about me, and that was something I'm trying to correct. I think that that's something in my life that I'm trying to correct. Stop having superficial relationships and to have really good in-depth relationships. And I think sometimes that means that you don't have a lot of relationships, but you definitely have good ones. Ones where you can be real and you can tell people you moved out when you were 17 and things of that nature. So, Redemption Journey right now is going to be just a weekly video of some things that I'm doing in my life to redeem it. I know that sounds silly. Anyway, that's basically it. Anybody a Rachel Hollis fan? I wasn't a Rachel Hollis fan. I'm still like, oh, I don't know, maybe not. But there was something, I was listening to one of her podcasts, and something she said was to stop breaking promises to yourself. And that got me thinking. And literally, it was like, I poured it out and was like, wow, that's huge. Because as a mom at a younger age, you make a promise to take care of your kids. And then you have a promise to your husband. And then you make promises to your work. And then you make promises to do the best that you can at anything else. I made lots of promises to myself, right? But then I completely quit every single one. And so I loved that reference that she said. She was like, stop breaking promises to yourself. And so some ways to do that were to just stop committing to things. And things that I didn't have to commit to. There are things that we have to commit to in life, right? You need money, you have to work. But it doesn't mean that I had to do a business that was running me into the ground and could not ruin my marriage, but could cause it to be very unpleasant. I wasn't making that much money that it was like, oh, I have to do this. And I stopped doing lots of other things. I stopped doing these women groups that I felt as though weren't actually inspiring me. Here is a huge one. This is something that I stopped that I think made probably the most, this helped me, I think, the most. I stopped listening to everything. I stopped podcasts. I stopped YouTube. I stopped Instagram, Facebook. I unsubscribed from every single email. So guys, if I unsubscribed from your email and you're like, why? It was because I needed it. And it wasn't like I detoxed. I didn't like take a minute and, a week and say, I'm never going back to it. I just stopped. I was talking to a friend recently about like information overload. And I don't think I had information overload. I was listening to so many different things and trying to be like, oh, well, this will work together, and this will work together. And I was running myself ragged trying to figure out how to fix my life instead of just fixing it. I think that there's a point where you either overthink things or you can never overact. I don't think you can overact, but you can just overdo the preparation. It's like this huge party that you throw. right? You can overdo everything for the 20 minutes that they're there and eat. And a lot of it stemmed, I think, from fear that no matter what I was going to do, it wasn't going to fix it quickly. And I would rather just plan it out in my head, just going to be honest, plan it out in my head, and on paper it worked. So if on paper it worked, at least I know it worked on paper. I'll never have to try it. So I ended up just stopping everything that I was listening to. I stopped Family Finance Success. I even took a part of time where I wasn't really active in church. Of course, I went to church because that is a huge thing. You should never stop church. My pastor says that a lot of the times the enemy will try to seclude you to get at you. And so that was something I knew I didn't want. But I even took some time back from friendships that I did have because I needed to concentrate on me. And like I said, it seems weird because there's really nowhere in the Bible that it's like, look at you and only you. But I think God withdrew a lot of the times to rest and prepare and pray during his ministry. And that's what I needed to do. So that is what I did. And my motto now is stop quitting and start overcoming. So I'm not going to, on myself, number one, I'm not going to quit on my family. I'm not going to quit on my faith. I did quit my job. There you go. But I actually am looking for a part-time job for me because that is something I've decided that will benefit me. Not only will it help finances because money is usually always helpful, but spending 6 years where I've had to actually seek out social events to go to it's just driven me nuts. I'm not a very social person anyway. I do better when there's like kind of the same people and I can get to know them. So I am looking for a part-time job, and that's why I have made the schedule for Redemption Journey very, very easy. Once a week, I'm going to put up a video, and I am dabbling with trying a podcast, and only because I love podcasts. I just don't know that I want to throw myself into that land yet. So we'll see. I don't know. But for right now, I have YouTube. It's a platform I love. It's a platform that I actually use daily still now that I've reintroduced people and things and life back into my world. So basically, my whole idea for this channel is to share my experience on my journey to 40. And I know this is probably close to 20 minutes by now, but something I've always said is that my 20s were time to have children and find myself. Well, I missed the finding myself part. My 30s, I wanted to be that work and, you know, the mom life and all of that. I'm doing that sort of well. I mean, I'm 2 years into my 30s. I'll be okay. I always said that my 40s, I wanted to be the time that I was in like my prime. Like it might sound weird, but I just always visioned my 40s being the best part of my life. Don't feel as if I was going on the track that I was going on, that would have actually happened. So I took these past couple of months, I got things in order, I prayed, I got counseling. I mean, I did everything that I think I was supposed to do, and I feel better. I feel great, actually. We have a new home, and my relationship with the Lord is stronger. And to me, that was successful. So the goal here is to share what I am doing after all of that, because I can't tell you what I did exactly to help myself, because every person is different. But I'm going to say what I'm doing. There's a couple of different things. Number one, I am committing to live a healthier lifestyle. And no, I'm not doing keto. Okay, sorry. I just have to do that. Gosh, guys, you should just give me a thumbs down for that one. I am just trying very hard to eat a very whole, clean food, you know, like I give up chips. I know that's crazy. It's the one thing I gave up. I'm starting very, very small with that. I ate very healthy, but as healthy as I would also eat unhealthy. So I had a very 50-50 lifestyle, and so I'm trying to move towards the 80-20. And doing that, I did give up potato chips because it's like my favorite binge. Yeah, me and Jeff will eat a bag of chips a night, and then the kids will come down the next morning and they'll be like, "Oh, there were chips," and we'll be like, "Yeah." So I'm giving that up, replacing it with carrots, ranch, I don't know, pita chips. My husband the other night, we were watching some Hunger Game reruns, and he's like, "Want some pita chips?" Okay, sorry, complete tangent. Okay, so health, and I'm going to share that journey with you. I don't know, maybe I'll be brave and put my weight up one day. I don't care. So my weight has just always been a number to me. If I feel good, I'm fine with whatever the scale says. I did not feel good. I still don't feel the best with my body and the way that it functions a lot of the time. So that's a journey that I'm on. I'm not going to give you any special diet tips. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. And as much as it is for me accountability, that's really it. If you're doing something, I would love to hear that in the comments below, because I think there's unity in people sharing that type of thing. And with unity, there's accountability. And with accountability, there is success. So, ooh, there we go. Okay. Also doing The Last 90 Days by Rachel Hollis. So I told you I'm still on the border on the edge of whether I'm a fan or not. But her Last 90 Days is something that I feel like is going to propel me to stick to what I said I'm going to do. The holidays are never really terribly hard for me emotionally. They're hard for me with like how busy we get. So if you go to church, you know that that's like the best time of year to be busy. I have a lot of family and we do lots of different things. However, I will say that I do believe that I suffer a little bit from seasonal affective disorder, and in Maryland, we can get weeks of dreary weather. So I would love to combat that as much as I possibly can this year. So I'm trying to do this. So The Last 90 Days, if you don't know, it's just basically a thing Rachel Hollis does where you finish the last 90 days of the year just like you would start January, right? Because in January, let's go to the gym, let's eat healthy, let's, make $1 million. Well, there's really no point in waiting, so just do it now. So I'm going to share 1 week, basically my tips on that, and then when that's over, probably some productivity things that I'm doing. Then, ready? I started the Fly Lady system. Okay. Did anybody, you may not know, you're probably like, gosh, you're crazy. I hate to clean. I am not dirty. I just don't like the time that it takes to clean. And I always felt like I could be doing something else. Well, at that point, I could be doing something else, right? There was a rationality behind that. Like, I could be working on my business and getting clients. Well, whenever I stopped my business, I was like, wow, I have a lot of time. What am I going to do? Well, I decided I was going to be a better house cleaner. I decided I was going to learn how to clean the house effectively. And also, we moved from maybe 2,000 square feet. Probably not. Let's just be honest. Probably more like 1,800 square feet to 3,000 square feet. Yeah, huge, huge difference. We had 3 bedrooms. We moved to 5 bedrooms. We moved from barely an acre to almost 2 acres. So I needed a system, and I'm about systems. If you know nothing else about me, take this away. I love Jesus and I like systems. So I love Jesus and I like systems. What? Oh gosh, this is great. So I started the Fly Lady, and I love the Fly Lady system. I don't do it everything that she does. I mainly wanted it to learn about zone cleaning, and then to have something to keep me accountable. Again, it's about accountability, folks. To keep me accountable for morning, evening routines. So I am doing so good on this. I think her website is a little wonky. Sorry if you love it. I think it's a little wonky. So one of the things that I thought about doing is, like, if anybody's like, I don't understand the system, is just to write like a brief how I kind of navigated it, because I don't know. I had a really hard time, and I'm pretty tech savvy. So the weeks that I don't talk about Fly Lady, update you on that, because I think that would get very boring. I'm going to do some type of Bible study, because that is one of my other passions, is sharing the Bible with people. Week 4 is going to be finances and fun, because if you know me, I can't not talk about money. That's crazy. But I also am missing fun in my life, and that probably sounds so silly, but I'm very serious all of the time. It's kind of a bad thing to have all the time. So something fun. I don't know what that will be, what that'll look like on YouTube. When there's 5 weeks, there's never 5 weeks, Jen. But when there happens to be a 5th Sunday, because that's when my videos are going to go up, when there happens to be a 5th Sunday, I'm going to be talking about relationships. That's what I'm going to be doing for the future, for the foreseeable future. My goal is, though, is to bring all of that together in a combination of like this completely amazingly changed person, me. Hopefully it helps you out. Eventually, I want to get some people on, and this is why I'm thinking podcast, because I want you to hear redemption stories. I want you to hear how Jesus has transformed people's lives. I'm going to share mine eventually. My husband is going to share his. Son, I think, would love to share his. So eventually we'll get our families on here, and then from there it's just going to go. The format of these, like, you really care. It's probably 30 minutes now that you've had to listen to this. But my format is going to be sit down, give you a little quick update, give you a tip. If I'm reading something or doing something, share that with you. And then I'm going to take little vlog style things and put them into a little montage, as my husband likes to call them. There'll be beautiful music and cloudy. Yeah, he'll love it. He'll love it. Anyway, hopefully you do too. And that'll be that. And hopefully they will not be 30 minutes. I don't know. I am not putting a website up right now. I don't have the time. If there's going to be something that I mention in the video, it's going to be linked down in that description box. Because I bet if you're watching this, you've watched a million other YouTube videos and you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, there's a drop-down menu, there's an arrow underneath the description, and you can actually click on links. So to sum this up, you ready? This is something I've been trying to do. To sum this up in 60 seconds or less. Here we go. I'm going to time myself. In 60 seconds or less, Jen's life. I quit my job, the business that I was running. We bought a house. I took some time for myself. I recommend you take some time for yourself too. And I don't recommend it. I would highly advise it. I've decided that I'm going to stop quitting things that I want for myself. I'm going to stop quitting on myself. I think that would be the best way to put it. Redemption Journey is my YouTube channel. It is for my journey until I get to 40. That's 7 years. I'm going to be posting once a week on Sundays. Hopefully it'll be up at 6 a.m. I'm going to be talking about life. And that is that, folks. I did it. Okay. So that's that. It's a very long video. I thank you if you actually stuck around. I thank you very much. I'm not going to be hokey and ask you to subscribe or like this video. But if you want to, that's okay. I won't be upset. Oh, you can share it with your friends too. Just the fact that you watched this all the way through means a lot to me, and I want you to know that I am super open to discussion and things of that nature. So if you want to pop something down there in the comments, I will get back to you. And I hope that you have a very, very wonderful week. I am going to be back next Sunday with my very first week of Redemption Journey, and that is going to be all about some health things. Signing out, guys. Bye-bye.